Today, we are starting a brand new series out. I have the honor and the privilege of doing that. We're starting a series called Follow Me. And the goal and the point of the series is to showcase Jesus' life from the start of it when he starts calling his disciples up until the end where he dies on the cross and the follow-up for that. But before we get into anything special and anything fun today, I am going to pray, and then we'll hop right into it. Lord, just thank you so much for today, God. I pray that during this time, we can just be attentive, and we can just be intentional with listening and just hearing what you have to say, God. I pray that every person in this room just gets one little thing out of this message, whether it's a tiny little nugget or something huge, God. And I pray that you just speak through me, help me be focused on you, and just make this time about you, God. We love you. In your name, amen. Okay, so about 8 months ago, one of my close buddies, his name is Drew. He not Drew Vance, different Drew. He came up to me. He's like, Matt, I have a very, very serious question for you. And I was like, all right, what's this serious question about, Drew? He's like, how would you like to go on an all expenses paid, free vacation to San Francisco to watch the last ever game played by the Oakland Athletics in their stadium? Now, I thought about this. Watching baseball on vacation. I love baseball. Number 2, the vacation is free. I love free vacations. And to make it all better, the Athletics were playing my Texas Rangers for the last ever game in the Oakland Coliseum. So I was like, heck yeah, Drew, I'm down. So we go out there, and also something you need to know about the Oakland Athletics. 1, they suck. But number 2, for about 60-plus years, they played all of their games in Oakland. They were called the Oakland Athletics. Until about a few years ago, they wanted a new stadium out there. And Oakland just like, nah, we don't want to get you a new stadium. So they refused to buy them a new stadium. So the Athletics decided to move. They moved to Las Vegas. Actually, they're currently in Sacramento, but they're moving to Las Vegas. And the fans of the Athletics, who have been there again for 60-plus years, obviously were not too supportive of this decision. Imagine if the Padres decided to just move to Las Vegas out of nowhere. You guys probably wouldn't be too happy. They're not the Chargers. They're the Padres. They would never move. But that's what the Athletics were doing. They decided that they wanted to move away from Oakland. So it was a huge deal. That entire year, every single Athletic fan decided to boycott the stadium. No one showed up to the games. It could fit like 45,000 people in it, and like 3,000 people showed up for like a Friday night game. No one wanted to go to those games. However, this is the last game. The last 3 games they'd ever played there, people started to show up for them because they realized their team was leaving and it was never coming back. So me and Drew, we get to San Francisco. We take a super long one-day drive. We get to San Francisco. We spend the night there. The next morning, we wake up early in the morning. Our goal was to get up around 9 a.m. so we could get to the stadium around 10 a.m., get inside, get ready. We woke up. Can anyone guess what time we woke up at? The game started like 12:30. We woke up at 10:30 in the morning. No big deal. No big deal. We're fine. We're like a 45-minute bus ride away from the stadium. We're okay. We run downstairs. We get dressed, everything like that. We get dressed first, then we run downstairs. Important to know that. And real quick, who in here has ever taken public transportation? Like, if you go to a Padre game, I bet a bunch of you guys take the bus or everything. But who in here is confident about public transportation? Like, if I said, can you get from right here, right now, to Encinitas, California, which is like 30 minutes down the road, raise your hand if you think you could do that confidently. I guess the guys in the back could. You could. Elle could. Pretty much no one in this room can. That's what I assumed. I, similarly to you guys, was also raised here in Oceanside, California. I have no idea how public transport works. It stresses me the heck out. Like, even looking on your phone at, like, the maps and stuff, the grid is so complicated. There's so many different lines. There's the blue line, the green line, the red line. What are we supposed to do with that? And it's going all different directions. You get on the wrong bus, everything's over for you. But no worries, right? Me and my friend Drew, we're 2 adult men. We knew what we were doing. We could get to the stadium no problem. So we get on our bus, we start going, we take one turn, we're like, that's not the turn we were supposed to take on this bus. No worries, I'm sure we'll figure it out. Then we take another wrong turn, and then another wrong turn, and we're just like, okay, I think we might have messed up here. We get off the bus, realizing we had been on the wrong bus. Eventually we get on the right bus. That bus takes us to the train station that we're going to take into Oakland, and we get there, and we realize there's like 4 different tracks. Again, red lines, green lines everywhere. We don't know what we're doing. We just decided to follow some people wearing athletic jerseys, and we're like, I hope these people are going to that game. If they're not, oh well, I guess we're going to some random city. But luckily, by the grace of God, we get to the stadium. And something you need to understand about the city of Oakland, if you don't know already, Oakland is probably one of the sketchiest cities in the world. It's like downtown Vista, but everywhere. You get there and you're just fearing for your life. Jagger, you look insulted. Vista is very sketchy, man. It is very sketchy. All right. All right. I guess I just go the wrong place to Vista. I'm sorry. But we get to Oakland, and something you need to know about me, if you can't tell already, is I'm a huge Texas I'm a huge Texas Ranger fan. And keep in mind, the people at this game were all Oakland residents. They were Oakland Athletic. Well, first off, the Athletics is such a stupid name for a sports team. Like, of course you're athletics. That's how sports work. That's neither here or there though. So I'm showing up to this stadium. I'm wearing my Rangers jersey. For some reason, my friend's wearing his Padre jersey. He just, I guess, wanted to support the Padres in the middle of Oakland. I don't know why he was doing that. But I'm walking around, and I'm starting to fear for my life because I'm wearing the opposite team colors, the opposite team jerseys, surrounded by sketchy people in Oakland. I thought I was about to lose my life. Me and Drew, we kept looking at each other like, dude, if you take one step away from me, it's game over. We're done. We were like walking arms linked because we were so afraid for our safety. But finally, we make it inside the stadium. We went through the wrong gate. We just aren't very directionally aware of what we're doing. But surprisingly, the game actually went quite well. Other than the fact that every single fan of the stadium were actively booing their own team and chanting, fire the owner and to sell the team. No worries. They also started throwing like toilet paper onto the field constantly and like empty bottles of like water and stuff. Crazy, crazy actions. I was looking for a video of this. I couldn't find one. It was so sad. But people were literally ripping the seats out of the stadium and taking the seats home with them. There was empty seats from the stadium just sitting on the train station when we were there. We're like, what the heck is going on? So note to self, next time you get angry at someone, just take their seats. Rip it out. You go to school, you're angry, just take this chairs home. Who cares? But we get there, and not only that, they were so mean because they took off the signs for the bathrooms. So if you had to go to the bathroom, you had no idea which bathroom you're supposed to go into because they took the sign that says man or woman on it. We're like, what are we supposed to do? And I do have to admit something. I also had a failure of my humanity because my seat was a little loose. And I really, really wanted to take that seat home, but I paced myself. I just took a screw home. And I have a screw from that stadium at my house right now. Thank you, thank you. But the game goes on. The Rangers lose, unfortunately, which probably more fortunately for my own safety, because the fact that they lost means I didn't lose my life, because I feel like the fans would have taken their anger out on me. But on the way out, I was just happy to know that I actually still have a baseball team in my hometown, which is nice. But we make it out of the stadium. I only got cussed at once or twice as we were leaving, and we somehow make it home. I think we took the wrong train home as well. Again, directionally challenged. So, first off, we wake up an hour and a half late. Then we take the wrong bus. Then we just follow random people on the train station because we had no idea where we were going. We get to the stadium, and the stadium's literally being torn apart by their own fans. Oh, also, they threw smoke bombs onto the field. Like, crazy things. I don't condone any of that activity except for the chair stealing. Steal the chairs. Nothing else do I condone. And we somehow make it out of the stadium. And again, once again, by the grace of God, we do it safely. He knew our direction. We didn't. And we knew the destination of where we were going. We knew we wanted to go to the Oakland Coliseum. And after that, we knew we wanted to get back to our hotel room. The way we did that, we just kind of figured it out on the fly. And similar to being a Christian, as your Christian life, we know what the destination is. And that destination is in heaven with God. But as a Christian, we probably don't know exactly what that journey is going to look like. And as we learn through Jesus' journey and the disciples' journey, a lot of the disciples didn't know that either. A lot of them had to give up everything they did in life in order to follow Jesus. But also, as Christians, we need to be aware of what we're giving our attention to. Because in this life, you only have so much time to give. And everything in this world is trying to take that time. And at the end of the day, whether you're a Christian or not, you need to understand, we are all followers of something. And that's going to be your first fill in the blank. Understand, we are all followers of something. Because everything in this world is vying for your attention, trying to get you to give it attention. Things like YouTube. Do you guys still use Snapchat? Things like Snapchat. Yeah, you do? Yeah, what's your Snap score? 4,000? No, that's not bad. I had like a 2,000 Snap score, but people back in high school like 2 million. Crazy. Anyways, moving on from Snapchat. Things like TikTok. Like the TikTok and the Instagram algorithms, guys, are so advanced, and they're all talking about Snapchat now. I lost them. Shh, listen up. The TikTok, the Instagram algorithms now are so advanced and so high tech that they know exactly what videos to show you, when to show you, in order to keep you on their app longer. Things like, dude, you can't even drive down the freeway without seeing a bunch of billboards. And for some reason, all those billboards are about divorce. I don't know why. I don't like those very much, but every single billboard's about crazy things trying to distract you, get your attention, which I also think advertising while you're driving is a dumb thing. Anyways, I'm on something today, guys. I had a lot of caffeine this morning, if you can't tell. But the thing is, you only have so much attention to give. You only have so much time. The world is going to tell you to follow the world in so many ways. The world's going to say, follow me. Shh. The world's going to say, follow me in the way you act. Who cares? You're your own person. You're your own God. Follow me. It's going to say, follow me in the way that you speak. Say whatever you want. Say it to whoever you want. Who cares? You're in charge. It's going to say, follow me in the way you dress. Follow me in the way that you think. But the good news is God says the same thing, except I feel like his idea is a lot better than the world's. So if you have your Bibles, open up to Matthew chapter 4. Matthew, yes, I'm also Matthew. I did not write this book, though. That's important to know. And the context for this verse, I think the context for whatever you read is super, super important. The context for this passage is this is basically right after Jesus had been baptized. He'd just been tempted in the desert by Satan, and now he's getting prepared to start his ministry out. So he's going out, and he's recruiting his disciples, his closest friends, to be able to follow him. So if you're there, say, "Go Padres." If you're not there, sorry, you're too slow. Matthew chapter 4, verse 18 says this. As Jesus was walking beside the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon called Peter and his brother Andrew. They were casting a net into the lake, for they were fishermen. "Come, follow me," Jesus said, "and I will send you out to fish for people." At once, circle that, at once they left their nets and followed him. Going on from there, he saw two other brothers, James, son of Zebedee, and his brother John. They were also in a boat with their father Zebedee preparing their nets. Jesus called them, and immediately they left the boat and their father and followed him. So Jesus calls these four guys, Peter, Andrew, James, and John. And he's like, I see you're living your life. I see you're a fisherman. And these guys are fishermen by trade. They've probably been fishermen for generations in their family. And hearing Jesus' call, they say, okay, that sounds a lot better than what I'm doing. I'm going to abandon my career. I'm going to abandon what I make my money off of, my living off of, and follow you. Dude, freaking James and John, they literally were like, peace out, Dad. I'm out of here. I'm following this guy. But something also important to note is that not only did Jesus say, follow me, he didn't just say, believe in me. He said, come and follow. Come and do. Act like me. Be like me. Don't just believe in me, because we can't just believe. And that same calling is available for you as well, and all of us as well. God, he's probably not going to call you to give up on all your dreams. He's probably not going to call you to give up on all your passions, on your future career. But he might do that. And as a Christian, we have to be willing to let him do that. As a Christian, you have to be willing to let God have the parts of your life that you don't want anyone to see, that you don't want anyone to have a part of. You have to let him have control of that. And that might look like eventually giving up your passions, maybe giving up your dream to be a baseball player because you need to follow God like that. And that's the biggest idea today, that as a Christian, we need to follow God with our whole being. You can't just be a Christian on one day and not the next. You can't just be a Christian Tuesday nights and Sunday mornings. It has to be an every single day activity. And that looks like devoting your life to him every day and trying to be obedient. First off, I want to preface something. Preface? Whatever. That's not possible. You will never be perfect. You're never going to even get close to that. Luckily, as a Christian, that's not the goal. The goal is to honor and follow Jesus the best you can, but you're never going to be perfect. Jesus already did that for you in his death on the cross and your acceptance of that gift. And he still sees you as the perfect sacrifice that Jesus made, but that doesn't give us an excuse to do whatever we want. That means we have to still live our life in obedience to him, because that's how your faith is shown. So for the rest of the time we have left today, I want to go through 3 ideas and 3 disciplines that might help you with this walk. I hope that you can just look at these and you can reflect on your own life on where you might need to improve on, or where you might just need to have alignment with God better. And once again, you're not going to do any of these perfectly. They're all still work in progresses. But we have to be actively working for these every single day. So for your first fill-in is number 1. You follow God with your time. Because, again, we only have so much time. We only have so much attention to give. I grew up playing baseball for 7 years, and I love baseball. And when I first started out, I was really, really, really bad at baseball. As probably a lot of you guys who just started a new sport are, you're not good at it to start with unless you're just some crazy athlete. But after years and years of practice, years and years of different seasons, going through different positions, playing more, I ended up becoming pretty good at baseball. And my last year playing, I was actually really good. And then I quit because I wanted to play more Fortnite. But that's neither here nor there. The point is that you have to, if you want to be good at something, you have to devote your time to it. If you want to be really good at piano, you have to spend time playing piano. If you want to be really good, getting good grades and being good at school, you have to study more. If you want to be good at volleyball, you got to practice volleyball more. It just doesn't happen naturally. And similar to that, relationships are the same way. I want to do a little activity with you guys. Look at the person next to you. Introduce yourself. Say hello, whatever your name is. All right, tell them one fun fact about yourself. Harvard, what's one fun fact about you? You're a potato. All right. Now, after all of that, I'm assuming that person next to you is your best friend, right? Am I right? Perfect. The person next to you is your best friend. Now, look at your best friend. Stare into their eyes. Stare deep into their soul. What is it telling you? All right. Now, wave at them. Say hi. Hello, best friend. You're besties for the resties. Remember that. All right, now give them a high five. Perfect. Now imagine you move to Michigan tomorrow. You now live in Michigan. What's going to happen? Remember, you and your bestie, you're so tight. You're best friends for the resties. You just moved to Michigan. You don't know anyone out there. You're going to a brand new school, a brand new church. You don't know what you're doing. So what do you do with your best friend? You probably call them every day, right? You probably text them every day. I'm about to burp. You're probably always in contact with them. If you might be playing video games with them every single day. Fast forward a week now. You might know of 2 or 3 people at school. You might know someone at church now, but you're still brand new to Michigan. You don't know what you're doing. So you keep texting your best friend. You keep calling your best friend. Now fast forward 1 month from now. You now have a few friends, 1 or 2 friends, okay? And you're getting more involved at church. You might be in the leadership team now. Those calls with your best friend, they're a little bit more sporadic now. Every 4 or 5 days, you text them probably just once a day checking up. Now, bye, Jagger. Now, 6 months. Fast forward 6 months. You now have a bunch of best friends, bunch more besties for the resties. And all of a sudden, your phone calls with your best friend back here are now once every 3 weeks. And you text them once every week, maybe. A year from now, you don't really talk to them anymore. And that's okay, because you have new friends in Michigan, and they have new friends here. But you did not invest enough time in that relationship because you never see them. An example of this in my life is my senior year of high school. Last day ever, I took a photo with a bunch of my best friends. These people, okay, Evan, too late. These people I thought were going to be my besties for the resties. I thought they were going to be super tight with me my entire life. Now looking at it, you see me right there with that weird hat on. You see Brandon Flaherty doing this weird face next to me. You see Drew, that's the guy I went to San Francisco with right there. Now looking at this other photo, this photo still, I don't really care about anyone on here except a few of them anymore. I graduated high school 2 years ago, but they all went to different colleges. They all went to different jobs. And looking back at this photo, my best friends 2 years ago, I'm now still friends with only 4 of them. And one of them doesn't even live in this state. He lives in Texas. I'm still close friends with 3 of those people up there. And that's natural because I did not invest time into those relationships. And just like that, if you don't invest your time in a relationship with God, your relationship with him is not going to be healthy. It might not even be there, really. Because something we need to understand is that more than a religion, I barely even call myself religious. You're in a relationship with God. You're in a one-on-one actual relationship with the creator of the universe. It's kind of a hard concept to understand, but the person who created you, created the mountains, created Jupiter, he wants a relationship with you specifically. And if we can understand this fact and we can lean into it, our relationship with God's going to be a lot better. And all of a sudden, this whole Christian life is going to be kind of an easier way to live because you're in a relationship with God. You're not just following religious ideas and texts and laws for the sake of it. And to invest your time into your relationship with God, you need to make sure that everything is of him. So your next fill-in is you follow God with your thoughts. What goes into your life comes out of your life. What you intake is what you're going to take out. So if you only intake negative influences and bad things like that, what's going to come out in the way you speak and think are not going to be healthy things. By a show of hands, who in here went to Whitewater? There's something weird that happens, I feel like, at really long camps like that. Like, Whitewater's 8 days long. Weird things that happen that when you're there, you're so on fire for God. And all you want is Him. But the second you get home, that feeling starts to fade a lot. And all of a sudden, you don't really feel as on fire anymore because you're not surrounded by Him 24/7. Because what you're surrounded by is going to be who you are. If you're, again, surrounded by negative things, that's the kind of person you're going to be. And that brings us into our final point. You follow God with your actions. What comes out when you go out and do? What is being shown when you go out and act around people and what you tell people and what you think about people and how you view people? Because we can't just merely listen to sermons and podcasts and we can't really just read the Bible. It takes life change. Life change? Life change. In James chapter 1, it says this. James chapter 1, verse 22. Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in the mirror and after looking at himself goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like. But whoever looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues in it, not forgetting what they have heard, but doing it, they will be blessed in what they do. What James is saying here is that you cannot just read the Bible. You can't just listen to it. It takes life change. He compares it, imagine if you're at home, right? You're doing your makeup, looking all nice and pretty in the morning, and you give yourself a nice smile in the morning. And in that smile, you notice this giant piece of broccoli sticking out your teeth. Any sane person's going to get that piece of broccoli out, right? Who cares? Pick it out. No one's watching you. Just take it out of your teeth. But what James is saying is that if you just read the Bible, if you just listen to what it's saying, and don't do anything about it, it's like looking at yourself in the mirror with that piece of broccoli, turning around and walking away and going home. And it's picture day at school, too. So you're going to have a giant picture with a piece of broccoli in your teeth. Because you need to know your faith, but you also need to live your faith out. Ask yourself, how are you acting at school? How are you acting at home with your parents, but also with your siblings? When you're at practice, how are you speaking? How are you treating people? Because your actions are who you tell the world you are. And I hope everyone in this room wants to tell the world they're a Christian so they can show that love and share it with others. I have an analogy for that. And it's super cheesy. I heard it the other day. Please stick with me. But do everything in your life with having your Jesus glasses on. View everything you do, the way you act, the way you speak with others, with the idea that God is watching and that He cares. Because He does. And I think if you get good at that discipline of viewing things with the Jesus glasses on, you're going to find that a lot of your actions reflect what Jesus would want you to do because you know He's watching and you want to do it to show Him. So that leads us into our challenge today. Make Jesus what you follow. Oh, no. First and foremost. I don't need those. Who cares? Which of these three things are you doing good in? Are you following God with your time well? Are you having good time management? Confession time, I'm really bad at that. I have terrible time management. That's something I'm working on. Are you following God with your thoughts? What are you taking in? What influences are you watching? What things are you watching on Instagram? What things are you listening to? Are you following God with your actions? What are you saying when you go out and show people who you are? Are you showing that you're a follower of God, and that you love God? Or are you saying, I'm a follower of myself, I'm a follower of the world, who cares? I'm going to do my own thing. Because I think these three things are so important to having a healthy relationship with God. Because if you can do all three of these things really well, then everything else is going to be a lot easier. When trials come, when hard things come in your life, your foundation is going to be built on God already. So it's going to be a lot easier to handle. Still not easy, obviously, but easier than if you're on your own. But also remember, it's not about perfection. Because God already did that for you. He already made you perfect. But it is about trying to live a life for Him and showcasing the world who God is. So I hope that sticks out with you. I hope you can go home and reflect on these things a little bit. Lord, thank you so much for today, God, that we're just able to come to church, we're able to listen to you, God. I pray that someone somewhere just got one little thing out of this message, and then it's all worth it, God. I just pray that going out today, we can look at our lives and we can see what areas we need to follow you more and what areas we can celebrate following you well in, God. We love you, Lord. In your name, amen.